let's get going. Yeah, so welcome along. Today we're going to just look at internal collaboration for BIM. So this is more our teamwork and BIM cloud and stuff like that. So hopefully most of you are pretty well up on this particular topic anyway. But we'll just go through it just to make sure. Oh, hold on a sec, I've got to find it again. Yeah. So internal collaboration, that's with a big office like ours, sort of essential way to work, allowing lots of us to work together on the same project at the same time without too many difficulties. So we'll just have a quick look at internal collaboration in general, office organisation, so how projects should be structured, and sort of basically how we're aiming to structure our projects here. Teamwork solutions, hot linking, and working with some complex projects. So obviously collaboration is sharing and coordinating the work between the project team members so that we're all working together in the same direction and obviously getting the project out as quickly as we can, rather than leaving up to one person to do it on their own. And programs like ArchiCAD and what's that other one, Revit, allow us to do this nicely and simply. So typical office organisation is what we used to be like for a small office. Obviously the main designer, so this is like your Kirsties and Matties up here, and then on each project would be a project leader and then the architects and draftsmen down below. Problem with this is that there's probably no dedicated person looking after the CAD and BIM side of things, and sort of no professional like visualizer. So we're all doing a wee bit of everything. So it's sort of a more mediocre probably result than if we had people specialising in things that they're really good at. Now that we're getting bigger, this is sort of the structure that we are working towards. Maybe not exactly as it's shown here, but in a similar vein. So each project will have a project leader in charge of delivering the project, all sort of working under the principal architects, so Kirsties and Matties. Sort of trying to develop our visualization team and IT and CAD. And then you would have, like, under each of the project leaders, they would have their team of architects and draftsmen and whatever else they need to, interior designers, to deliver the project. So the problems there is that there's very strict CAD and IT standards are required, which is why we keep bleating on about doing everything in a particular way with attributes and layers and templates and all stuff like that. So that causes less problems in the long run. There can also be problems with these big projects, as we find all the time, with sharing them and coordinating things, and how difficult they can become to manage, but we're working around all those. And it means that we sort of need to be continuous in communication, because we can all be working on the same part of the building, doing various things, but advancing it along. So we need to know what each other's really sort of doing at the same time as doing what we need to do. So this is the common project sharing method. So this is probably the old way of computers individually hooking up to the server and working on a file on their own computer and bringing them back to one place to stitch them all together later on. Then you got sort of like your small BIM server setup where they're all sort of working in a coordinated manner a bit more. The CAD manager overlooking, or a BIM manager overlooking what we're all doing and making sure that it's going along smoothly, tending to work on the same file. And then here is for this more complex file, which is probably like a lot of the possible projects we've got at the moment, where we've got various model room files. Silta we've broken down into stages, and Luxo is broken down into different buildings and stuff like that. So we've got lots of files which are all linking back into a main project file. So as I said, this is the old way, or the original way of downloading your project file and working on it, and then sending it back up to the server, which sort of made it difficult to coordinate, basically. So on a file server-based system, we've got a central file, so it's on our BIM server database, and whether that's on the BIM cloud or our own BIM server, the end result's very similar. So that contains all the building data, and then all the team members work on a local copy, and that have their dedicated workspaces within that in that file. So every time you log into the BIM server, it's downloading a copy or a data package that allows you to have the file on your computer. And then you can reserve the parts of the building, obviously, that you want to work on, and then it sends it all back up and coordinates it in this central file here, once you do your send and receives. So when we work through the building, we need to obviously reserve the areas that we want. So we can select by various things. So we can actually select the elements that we want and reserve those. We can select a layer, we can select a story, we can select an elevation, drawings, whatever it is. Important thing to remember is to just reserve what you need. I've noticed a lot, we get this problem with people having stuff that they don't even need to be working on. And what I've noticed happens is sometimes you reserve something and you've already reserved it without realizing, or you've forgotten that you've already reserved it. And then the ArchiCAD brings up this window saying something along the lines of, you've already reserved this element or something. Do you want to reserve all elements? And a lot of people just go, yes. So what that does then is everything that's visible on your drawing, you've just reserved it, whether you want it or not. So that's where a lot of the confusion comes on when someone comes and taps you on the shoulder and says, oh, you've got the ceilings or the floors, and you go, oh no, but I'm only working on the toilets. And you go, well, so that's where that thing comes from. So it pays to keep in mind that if you do get that box, don't click the yes, reserve all, click the cancel button or whatever the other option is. I can't remember what it is. And sending and receiving, so it's always important to regularly send and receive, especially send. ArchiCAD has this habit of, as you do more and more work and build up its sort of like a internal memory, unless and this works even on a standalone PLN file, as you do more and more work, you notice sometimes that it starts doing funny things, or it gets slow, or it clogs up, crashes. Usually it's a result of the memory getting overloaded and just can't take anymore, so it just crashes out. So that's why it's really important, if you're working on a standalone file, Control S pretty frequently to save. And on AutoCAD, ArchiCAD does save regularly as well in the background, but like doing the control save, your own save sort of clears all the memory out and gives you a fresh start. So you're effectively helping your computer to work better. And the same with the send and receives on BIM Cloud and BIM Server. So don't turn up in the morning, work all day, and then send it at night and expect not to have too many problems during the day. So you'll find you'll be sitting there waiting for stuff. So it's always a good start to improve performance and get rid of the beach ball. And also remember that just because you've sent something doesn't mean everyone else has got it, because they've got to do their sends and receives as well. So if someone does say, yeah, I've already done that, you need to probably do a receive sometimes to make sure that you've picked it up. So this system with BIM with the file server allows everyone to work effectively or simultaneous at the same time. Everyone has their dedicated roles. We can't overlap workspaces, and we can also see the progress at any time. And the team leader can make some changes as they need to. So the limitations, team members, we can't send and receive simultaneously. Sending and receiving can be slow, so when we notice that with large projects, which again is why it's probably better to send more frequently than saving them for some time. So now our client server-based collaboration solution. Effectively all the same sort of benefits, but this one actually allows us to be all working together at the same time on the same file. And this is the sort of the complex project setup. So Silta Sorala, for example, we've got hot linked modules, and Ratamo in a lot of instances hot linked modules. So this is like our Male Hornet. Here are our nested modules, so our sanitary setups, our hand basins and toilet bathroom setups. We create these in one file. We then link these into the various room files that we need, and then these come into our project file. Any other module files that we need are all brought in here, and then we have our project file here, bringing everything together. So this allows us to be working on sort of smaller files with less memory intensive and less problems, basically, with, less potential problems with overloading memories and stuff like that. So, and this is always, where you've got rooms that generally repeat through a building. It's always good to be working in the hotlink module, because then you just need to go in and fix it once, and it repeats itself through all those 10 or 15 rooms that are the same. So this obviously can be used to manage those repetitive elements. Hotlink file can refer to other hotlinks, and using hotlink files too, what we can also do is, if you want some sort of reference to work to, you can actually hotlink, say, the main file back into your hotlink file so that you can work over it. And then when you export your hotlink to the main file, you can tell it to come into the main file without the nested hotlink. So there's a little button to click that says include nested hotlinks or something like that. So if you have that on, it will bring in all of the elements in your hotlink file. If you unclick that, it will leave out anything that you've hotlinked into your file as well. So that is a good way, if you've got something complicated that you're working on and you want to work accurately, is just hotlink the file back again and do what you need in the right space, and then hotlink out or break that hotlink and bring it back into the main model. So limitations of this one, obviously the owner of the main file doesn't have, so you can't change the hotlink file automatically in the main file, so you've always got to do that open separate ArchiCAD or open hotlink and separate ArchiCAD command, and then go and make the change. But generally, most hotlink files open up pretty quick, so it's a small sacrifice to make for having control over a lot of the project all at once. Sometimes it can cause conflicts, so we just got to keep an eye on that. And moving or deleting the hotlink file will break the link in the host file. So that's if you have the hotlink file hosted on just a normal server rather than say on the BIM cloud server, or even on the BIM cloud if you move it to another directory. So if you move the hotlink file from one folder to another file, say for some reason, ArchiCAD will always be looking in the original location. So you would then need to go into ArchiCAD and tell it, look for this hotlink in another place. So basically I'm using the relink command if you ever lose your hotlink. So in the big projects, we tend to try and break it down. So like in Silta, we've got, for the Sasto file, we've got a Silpakeskus file, we've got Podium file. So I think we've actually got about 5 main files with lots of hotlink files into each of those. And then we have like a master file where we bring it all back. And then we bring in like XREF drawings. So this is DVGs from engineers, IFCs from the consultants, HVAC, stuff like that. And then we can push these out to the documentation file. So in Silta, we use like the Telostos file, and then we can bring in all of the print information, all the stuff that we want to print into these files, so that whoever's in charge of printing can just go in and work on that file, and they're not having sort of the same hold-ups and stuff that we would have in a big bulky file. And then we can bring in independent information into our drawing sheets in this file here. So yeah, this is a good way of managing a big project. So that was just an introduction to internal collaboration. So yeah, thank you very much, and we'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to pick up on her.